I have a few things I need to get off my chest. There's been a resurgence of Charlie Kirk, you know what, videos with commentary and analysis of his subtraction from this world. And I'm going to do a short video of my own about that next. I think I'll do one about January 6th too, maybe a few others. Because maybe if I put something out there like this about this nagging BS that keeps poking at me, then maybe it'll die down in my mind. So it's for purely selfish reasons. This is from August 5th, 2022, almost exactly 4 years ago. I've heard commentary from some first responders, EMTs, firefighters, and I've heard them say there are a number of things wrong with how this incident was handled. For one thing, it's only the fire department on the scene. They say Ann Heche was trapped for 45 minutes in her vehicle. Seems to me EMTs ought to have been called for, and there certainly was plenty of time to make that call. I've also heard firefighters talk about how strange this behavior is of this team of supposed firefighters. Not to mention, how did Ann's car catch on fire in the first place? I bet that one could be seriously questioned too. There are just all kinds of things here that don't add up. Just like with so many of these contrived and fraudulent events we've been having waved in front of our faces. And all of that ought to be enough. It really ought to be, because on its face it's ridiculous, sketchy, and has the overpowering stench of dishonesty. And then there's this.
6 days, 7 nights, Donnie Brasco, Wag the Dog, Volcano, a bunch of movies. And there is a dramatic moment there just before being put into the ambulance to take to the hospital. That driver was identified as Ann Heche. You can see we slowed it down a little bit for you as firefighters were trying to help this woman get the help that she needed from the hospital as she crashed into this house. And
if you plan something in advance, certainly part of that would be having the story and the press releases and so forth all prepared in advance as well. Oops, apparently she didn't die instantly. So let's shift to those being her last moments alive, even though, as I recall, the original story was like face burned beyond recognition and so forth. Well, does this look like someone's last moments alive? Is there anything at all burned, period, much less beyond recognition? Her hair, her shirt, everything seems fine. You can see her legs there. She's wearing something on her feet. And when she sits up, no one's astonished, no one's taken aback. They just push her back down onto the stretcher and pretty much manhandle her. There's this one guy here as she tries to get her leg out from under the strap, pushes it back down, and then when she sits up, the other guy to her side grabs her by the arm, and his body language is more like, get your butt in that ambulance right now than I'm here to help you. Hey, where do you think you're going? Get back in there. There are reports that say Ann first struck a garage and then backed out and rammed into a house after that. Well, modern cars can be commandeered remotely and taken out of the driver's control. Brake cables can be cut, and you don't deal with these supposed cause of death injuries by zipping somebody up in a bag and pushing them around. Why isn't the Heche family suing the city of Los Angeles emergency services or something for the way they severely mishandled the situation? And who are these two guys right here? Why are they acting the way that they're acting? It's strange. They saw what just happened, and yet look at them. I could go on and on about this and get a lot deeper and a lot more convincing, but the point isn't how many points I can make or the case I can build to support my point of view. I'm not going to go over every point I can think of. Hardly anyone who can do anything about it is going to give a crap, because they're either in on it or are under some kind of a threat. The only point I really care to make right now, the only one that really matters very much, I think, is why do so many of us, the vast majority it seems, have such a difficult time simply seeing what's right in front of our eyes? I think if we clearly and truly see the dynamics, the forces that are at work, even in this little occurrence here, this little scene, that it is blatantly over the top problematic, that it's been so whitewashed and swept under the carpet. It's ridiculous. But even more so for the way that we're so caught up in our own world of concerns that we don't see the destructiveness of it. The thousand small deaths we die, every lie that we brush off, we allow our lives to shrink just a little bit more. What's worse is that no one will ever be held to account for this or the 10,000 other things like this. No one is going to be held to reckon for it or put in front of the public and forced to account for their complicity. Now, a primary reason for this is because the media or the powers that be that control the media and enough of the judicial system to keep it out of the courts, those who are in such positions of power know that enough of the masses are simply not going to trust what's right in front of people's faces if the authorities tell them something different. They've done a really good job of teaching the masses to disregard those of us who question the official story and aren't inclined to go along with the crowd in order to avoid ridicule or low opinions or whatever. They've given us a label, and it has worked for them for a long time. Is it still working on you, or are you ready to wear the hat?